Thank you, Chair. So you guys be with me here, and I still want to come to us today, and bless our community here, bless this table, bless all of our membership near and far. That's that you take care of our children in these cold days. As you look out for anybody that may be in need of it the most, those that struggle during these cold times, don't have nowhere to go, and we find someplace warm and safe. And that's that you take care of our elders, take care of our children again, and take care of traveling on our roadways to and from and in our community. That's that you will look out for all those that are sick, those that are in mourning as well. That's this in your name, Mona. And if I forgot anybody in this prayer, I want to take care of it for me.
Thank you, Eugene. So for the tribal members' information, we have some additions to our agenda. Under tribal council items, we have University of North Dakota Tribal Industrial Institute. We have the village vote communications. We have a resolution we're going to ask our general counsel to draft. We have Nebraska Intertribal Coalition as number 4, and we have an executive session. Are there any further additions to the agenda? Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Move it.
Motion by Eric, second by Isaac. Discussion. Objection. Motion carried. 600. Our first order of business are the minutes. We have the February 3rd, 2025 regular tribal council meeting minutes. Do we have a motion to approve? Motion by Isaac. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Eugene. Discussion. Objection. Motion carried 600. February 7th, 2025 special tribal council meeting minutes. Do we have a motion to approve? Motion by Eugene, second by Isaac. Discussion. Objection. Motion carried 600. February 10th, 2025 physical resource report meeting. Do we have a motion to approve those minutes? Motion by Isaac. Do we have a second? Second by Eric. Discussion. Objection. Motion carried 600. There are no ratifications, and that moves us into new business. We have the Winnebago Housing and Development Commission. We have one applicant and we have one vacancy. The vacancy is there's two applicants. Okay, that's my bad. We have Tyron Wolf and we have Rena Brownwig. And that's for the Winnebago Housing and Development Commission, one vacancy, 3-year term.
Don't Rena work there?
I thought she did.
Yeah.
She can't be on the board, does she know that? Or she has to resign from her position?
I'm not sure if she works there. She used to.
Yeah,
She still works there.
Motion to approve Tyron Wolf.
We have a motion by Eugene to appoint Tyron Wolf.
I'll second.
We have a second by Teresa. Discussion. Objection. Motion carried 600. We have the Water Quality Committee. And we have one applicant, Christine Earth. Oh, excuse me. There's 4 vacancies and we have one applicant. Do we have a motion to appoint Christine?
Motion to approve.
Motion to appoint Christine by Eric. Do we have a second? Second by Rona. Discussion. Objection.
Question, I guess, is which vacancy is she be filling? The 3-year, the 1 years?
Eric, do you have a preference on which term you'd like to appoint her to?
I would say 4 years for right now, because if we don't have anyone there, we're gonna need someone.
So the terms are 3,
3-year.
2, 1. So you want the 3-1? Okay. So Christine's being appointed for a 3-year term by Eric. Do you second that, Rona?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then does there need to be another motion to continue to advertise until filled?
Sure. So do we have a motion to, let me finish that one. Okay. Any further discussion on the appointment of Christine for a 3-year term? Objection. Motion carried 600. Is there a motion to re-advertise the Water Quality Committee for 1 2-year terms and 1-year term?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Eugene to re-advertise the Water Quality Committee. We have a second. Second by Teresa.
Until filled.
Until filled.
Objection. Motion carried 600. Thank you, Council. That brings us to the Powell Committee, and we have 3 vacancies for a 2-year term, 2 vacancies for a 3-year term, and 2 vacancies for a 1-year term. The applicants we have are Kiva Hardin Free, Kylista Hardin Free, Ramon Laura, and that is it. We've got 3 applicants.
Make a motion to approve all 3, starting with Kiva for the 1 year, Lista for the 2 year, and Ramon for the 3 year.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second to that motion by Isaac. Discussion? Objection?
Kiva.
Kiva 1 year, Kylista 2 year, and Ramon 3 year. We have a motion by Eric and a second by Isaac. Any further discussion? Objection to the motion? Motion carried 600.
If I could, need a motion to re-advertise until the Powell Committee.
We have a
Fill the
motion.
remaining spots.
We have a motion by Eugene to re-advertise the remaining vacancies on the Powell Committee. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion by Eugene, second by Isaac. Discussion?
How many spots is there?
There's 4 more spots.
4 more spots?
Yep, there's 2 2-year spots left, 1 3-year spot, and 1 1-year spot.
So everybody that wants to whine around about Powell, now's their chance to get on the board,
2,
help make changes.
2,
make
1,
it
1.
Better.
Any further discussion? Objection to the motion? Motion carried 600.
It's gooder and gooder and
Yeah,
gooder.
it's freaking spicy today.
Gooder.
That brings us to the, okay, wait. Objection to the motion, motion carried 600, that's on the re-advertisement. That brings us to the Ho-Chunk Inc. Board of Directors. We have 1 vacancy for a 3-year term. We have,
Motion to
hold on, let me read that. We've got Sharon Frenchman, Yalana Henderson, Miss Gu Petit Senior, Cassie Kitchian, Kumiko Masquat, Nakia Mallory, Thomas J. Snow, Gordon Rave, Janine Frazier, and Barbara Potenzigal.
make a motion to put Cassie Kitty on HCI board.
We have a motion to appoint Cassie Kitchian to the HCI board. Is there a second? Do we have a second to put, we have a second by Isaac. Do we have discussion?
Sharon Frenchman.
Okay, hold on, let me, see if we can close this motion. Do you want to object then?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got objection to the motion. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. Or say aye. We got Isaac,
Object.
so we got 2 objections. Or, so all those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand or signify by saying aye. We got Isaac and Eric. Opposed. We got Rona, Teresa, Lorelai, and Eugene. Motion failed. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4-0. Do we have another motion for consideration?
Motion for Sharon Frenchman.
We have a motion for Sharon Frenchman. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Lorelai. Discussion. Objection. We have an objection by Isaac and Eric. Discussion. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand or signify. Rona, Teresa, Lorelai, Eugene. Opposed. 1. How do you vote, Eric?
Oh, I objected.
Opposed? So motion carried 4-0. So Sharon Frenchman is on the HCI committee.
What term did she get?
There's only one,
Oh.
1 year term.
Okay, all right.
Your turn.
So we got a full house. Would anybody from HCI like to say anything? You guys are all here. Oh, I was addressing Lance.
Yeah, I just want to come up, I have a 30-year policy of not interfering in this process, you know, check and balance. But I do think Sharon's a good choice. She used to work for us 5-6 years ago, so she knows us.
Mm-hmm.
And I know her as a professional person, I think Cassie would have been a decent choice too. She's certainly knowledgeable and a likable person. I think the main thing, guys, is that Ho-Chunk Inc. is your biggest enemy, right? And so I think putting your best on it, I think matters, you know, and certainly Sharon is one of our best. So thank you.
So I have a question. Why do you have a concern now, all of a sudden?
Oh, I was just saw it on the agenda and I was just coming to work. So I thought I came here. But I've been to the one or two of them. Yeah, but I also worry about why I have a concern to answer your question is I worry about the political nature of some things. And so I think it's good to just watch. I didn't say anything, just watch. But I think either one would have been good. So thank you.
Well, thank you for being here. So that moves us into our enrollment, and the resolution in the packet is correct and ready for action. So the next resolution number is 2507. Do we have a motion to adopt resolution 2507?
We have another copy. Is it this one?
It's this one that's in the packet.
There's two of them.
The other one that she just passed out, she said, we don't need it.
Okay.
So the one in the packet works.
I make a motion to approve.
We have a motion by Rona to adopt resolution 2507. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Teresa. Discussion. Objection. Motion. Okay, we have, so anybody, all those in favor of the motion? raise
Well,
your
was there
hand.
an objection?
Well, we have an abstention.
Oh, okay.
So we got motion carried 501. That brings us to the blood quantum.
Okay, just say welcome to our new tribal members.
Yeah, welcome to our.
We love you and appreciate you.
So that brings us to our blood quantum correction. Let's see. This one is for applicant 5650. Do we have a motion to adopt resolution 2508? For blood quantum correction of tribal member 5650. We have a motion by Rona. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Eugene. Discussion. Objection. Motion carried 600. Oh, 5. Thank you. That brings us to the next one is blood quantum correction for applicant 5190, or excuse me, tribal enrollment 5193. Do we have a motion to adopt resolution 25-09? We have a motion by Eugene. Do we have a second? Second by Isaac. Discussion. Objection. Motion carried 600. We have a blood quantum correction for tribal member 4345. Do we have a motion to adopt resolution 25-10?
Motion approved.
We have a motion by Eugene. Do we have a second? Second by Rona. Discussion. Objection. Motion. Discussion.
Yeah, so do they, when they're correcting these little blood quantums and stuff, is there a domino effect that's we're gonna keep these guys? Is there gonna keep coming? Because once you go in and correct one, I imagine common sense says that there's gonna be a trickle effect of all these other resolutions. So what I'm looking at is when whatever these corrections are in here, then all those people show up and they get a notice, or they're gonna get a notice that it's gonna be corrected, that their blood quantum has been corrected. So I know nobody in the room probably has the answer for that, but.
Can you hear me?
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, okay.
Oh, okay, yeah, we do send these out and it's in the backup documentation. They get a month to respond. If they don't respond, most times they won't because it's an increase. So we just go ahead and send them through for the increase. And, most likely it is the family, so a lot of these, if they have kids, I'll put on the bottom here where it says to change, we'll change the blood quantum for the following member and their descendants. So we don't send them all to the kids or anything, we just send it to the adults and then we change the children underneath them, so.
Okay, that's all. I was just wondering, I was thinking, man, are we gonna have a whole bunch of, a room full of angry people show up here one of these days when this catches up? But thanks for answering that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So call for the question on that. Any further discussion? Objection? Motion carried, 600. So that brings us to Resolution 25-11, and that is Tribal Member 4346. Do we have a motion? We have a motion by Eric. Do we have a second? Second by Eugene. Discussion. Objection. Motion carried 600. That brings us to Resolution 25-12 for applicant 3596. Excuse me, 3590. Is there three? 3596. Do we have a motion to adopt Resolution 25-12? We have a motion by Rona. Do we have a second? We have a second by Teresa. Discussion. Objection? No. Motion carried 600. And lastly, we have Resolution 25-13. Wait, oh shoot, there was a 3595. Okay, all right.
Yeah, there's a 96 and a 95.
Okay, so, Resolution 25-13, Tribal Member 3595. I wasn't tripping. Okay. Do we have a motion for that one? Motion by Eric. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Eugene. Discussion. Objection. Motion carried 600.
Thank you, council.
Thank you, Ramona. All right, I make sure I did this right. Okay, yeah, that's right. All right, so that brings us to that. Our last resolution was 2513. Brings us to our planning department, and we have a resolution 25-14, and that's for the Winnebago Tribe Human Services partnership with UNL Nebraska Youth Homelessness System Improvement Grant. And we have the director here in the planning department. Thank you for being here. And if there's anything you'd like to say about this opportunity.
Good morning. This is gonna be, let's see. This is a grant that is partnered with UNL under the Youth Homelessness System Improvement Grant that was done around
last
About this
year.
time last year?
Yeah, about this time last year. And basically their partnership with them is to create a youth advisory board to address homelessness with certain other tribes. And I guess it's just more of increasing the knowledge and outreach to all tribes in Nebraska.
It's also not just tribes, it's across the entire state. Every county in the state has representatives.
Yeah, so Winnebago, Omaha, Santee, Ponca tribes in Nebraska. So, for the most part, there is a dollar amount added to this, into this grant contract too. We are to bill UNL every 6 months, 5,000 up until April of 2027. And that's just to kind of pretty much,
We could provide stipends for up to 8 youth who participate in this, probably about $100 a month for the life of the partnership of the grant. And so, right around the time that this was announced, I remember there was some discussion down here at the tribal council that I seen on YouTube where there was some youth that approached the tribal council, and I thought that was a really good thing that youth were doing that. This grant right here isn't looking at anyone under 18. It's from 18 to 24, but I'm hoping to get some input from our youth, from those young people. The buzzword these days is what they say is lived experience, and I think we have plenty of issues in the community with homelessness. It's housing's an issue, and maybe we can get some good ideas from our young people, and they can also in turn get some experience to be a part of something, to learn, understand kind of Robert's rules, and just kind of going forward with working together as a committee, and making it to the meeting every month too. All the little things that would be good for young people to learn about and get involved in trying to find solutions.
So could this be where the youth council sits then? Could the youth council just be appointed to this? Or does it have to be, does it have to be its own appointed board? And then who does the appointments?
We, right now, we don't have no like bylaws for it or anything like that. The Human Services Department was designated the responsibility to bring the board together and recruit, and we've done that. So far, we haven't received any interest. We've been up to Little Priest a few times, talked to some of the staff there to try to get people aware of the opportunity, but that's been for about a month now. We haven't really gotten very much interest.
Identity.
I got a question.
Lorelei?
I'm glad that the University of Nebraska wants to partner on this issue. But as a member of the tribe, I would like to know what are the numbers of youth homelessness in our community. We don't even know what those numbers are. I would like to know.
Maybe this partnership might get some of that data back to us as we proceed with this project.
Because I was, when we had that joint meeting with the school board, I was concerned about how many of our special needs children age out from the school when they turn 18, and where do they live? Because we don't have housing. Like you guys were going to build some units in your original plan for the human service building for them special needs tribal members that age out of services, they get through the school. And so I just am concerned, where are they living? And maybe this will evolve into a housing project for our special needs young people that age out but want to still be productive and need their own little units. But I hope that's what's going to grow out of this.
Yeah, that's one of the project and objectives in here is to conduct a housing need assessment focused on youth and adults in the tribes of Nebraska. And then, of course, the group will be underserved groups with potential barriers to assist in those kinds of things. So that's
Okay, good. Thank you. Good one.
I got a question.
Eric.
I guess first off, would there be a way that we could table this until we get all the information so we really know what we're signing up for? And as it's been asked, the homeless children population in our community, that's kind of what I'd like to find out, because that sounds like child abuse, neglect, and that sounds like somebody needs to be held accountable in our community. If we do have that going on, we have a small community, and we're not supposed to be like that. And so I think we need to start holding our, I don't want to say parents, because if they're parents, then their child wouldn't be homeless or out in the cold. But I'd say the people that have kids that can't take care of their own kids and let them leave them out to the elements of nature, we need to find out our numbers, and somewhere around there, being social services, human services, that's where we need to be nipping it in the butt with the court, so we can prevent that. So we got somebody following through on their programs. You know, that's where the reinforcement of motherhood and fatherhood is sacred will come in. Our hospital, our halfway house, wherever it might be that we have, that maybe we need a new tool to help these people that have these kids that can't take care of them start taking care of themselves as well as their children. So that's kind of what the mechanism I'd kind of like you guys to start looking at, is how many we have and what the mechanism might be. Is it drugs? Is it alcohol? Is it both? Something along that line, you know. And I think the age of our children should kind of reflect on where that should be. And so I know what if it's the older teenager, you know, they go through their moods, and that might be kind of understandable. They think they can do what they want these days. That's kind of that gray area where it's kind of the child's fault as well, and the parents not working together. Now, if the children are younger, then it falls more onto these people that have children that can't take care of it. It kind of falls more on their shoulders. And so just kind of looking that you guys need to kind of have that, what you're looking at, and maybe there's maybe we're missing something. Maybe we don't even have a program for that you guys can see that we can fix. But I do appreciate the college looking to work with us and help us out. That makes me feel good. But it kind of makes me feel sad as well that noticing someone else is seeing our shortcomings as parents, as a people, to do the fundamentals of what they're meant. That you know, they have these children, they can't fulfill that obligation by choice. And I think it's by choice or accident that they even have these children, to know that they're not going to be able to take care of them anyway. But anyways, that's just kind of what I want you guys to look at. It's from an outside view of maybe whatever we're missing. Look for something that mechanism that we're missing, or maybe we have to start a new program. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. I got a couple questions. Hold on. So the first question I have is, why do we have to include all 4 tribes? And how did you go about recruiting those other 4 tribes as kids, other 3 tribes?
Yeah, I was initially contacted early January when this grant was on the horizon for application, and the gentleman from University of Nebraska had asked if we would provide a letter of support, and I sent that to Brittany and wanted to make sure that this grant wasn't something that we were already applying for. And Brittany said, no, that's not, don't want to compete against ourselves. And couple months went by, maybe a month or so went by.
Oh, excuse me, Ms. School, a letter of support for what? For this grant?
For the application, the grant application.
So you already submitted the application?
No, it was them that submitted the application. We never submitted one.
Who submitted application?
The University of Nebraska.
See, then why would we agree to what UNL put our name on that
I
we're
was-
gonna
I was
take
getting
up
to
for
that,
these
but
other 3
I'm
kids?
not-
Okay, sorry.
Never mind.
So, I never got anything back about the grant because I needed all the information from them to even like look at what they were trying to submit. Never got back to it. It just fell off. So I assumed that they never submitted anything because we told them I didn't get anything back from them at all.
None of the other tribes responded to UNL, so I'm the only one that responded. So that's why this is in our lap.
So we don't have to do what UNL tells us we have to do. Can we say we're interested for our own youth and then maybe those tribes are interested for their youth?
We could do it that way.
That's just really off-putting that they would be so bold and tell us what we're gonna do. Especially that they wouldn't respect each tribal nation, that the Omahas wanna do it the way they wanna do it, the Santees wanna do it the way they wanna do it. So I wouldn't even be so disrespectful to those tribes to like step on them in that way, you know? Anyway, that's just my feedback, because I was wondering like, well, how did we get into including them on this? And then my next question was, whose definition of unsheltered are we gonna use? Because we know that there could be loved ones living with auntie, but they don't really have their own home, so would they be considered homeless?
Yeah, I wouldn't know that.
Make a
So,
motion to take.
okay. We have a motion to table Winnebago Tribe Human Services Partnership with UNL.
We ask that you guys just get more information or your descriptions, so we have a chance to read through it. Because all we're seeing in our packet is this. That's all we have.
There is no summary.
I have a summary and scope of work that they submitted with their grant. You guys would like to see that.
So, okay, I got one question is, how would it get this far that you would bring an approval before even doing all this stuff to say, you're not jerking us around, UNL? Like, I guess I'm just wondering how it got here, Brittany, with all these
I think
Ambiguity.
what, like, lesson learned, like, I probably shouldn't be writing letters of support to anybody. Like, that should come from her.
So the letters of support should come from the tribal council, honestly. No,
Yeah.
none of you guys should be putting your name on anything that this table didn't approve. Not me,
That's
the
my
table.
fault. Like, I'd asked her, it was her first week on the job, I think, when I'd asked her
Okay,
for insight or guidance on it.
Darla, could you jump in here and can you kind of get ahead of how we process these or what, how we vet what the departments are, I guess, seeking, and so that UNL doesn't find a gap in our approval process? All right, so we got a motion to table, and do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Eric.
I just have a question on that for discussion. So what's the deadline of that they gotta submit this?
There's no deadline.
So why aren't we submitting one for
Oh, the
ourselves?
grant's already been awarded to UNL.
Oh, well, it never came to us for us to go after it.
I asked for their approvals, or not the approvals, the what they were putting in their grant to review and stuff, and they never got it to me.
Okay, so just as a matter of process, the tribal council says what we support. And if the tribal council didn't give a letter of support, then we have no business sending it. I guess that's just what I want to make sure everybody understands. And I don't sign anything unless it goes through the tribal council's approval, and then it goes through our approval track. And we had to start that DocuSign approval track because there was things that were getting by that maybe Jasmine should have reviewed, or maybe, anyway, there was different levels of approval I've learned catch things. So they help me, because when somebody comes and says, sign this, I used to, like, and I learned also, Ms. Glu, that was not the right thing to do. Okay, so what?
So are we
motion
gonna
table-
apply ourselves?
It's too late to apply. The grant's already been awarded to UNL.
But that's what I'm saying is why didn't it come to here where we were applying back when you sent that to planning
It never got to me. I asked for it.
from him? No, all he asked you about was, were we gonna apply? Isn't that what you just said?
Yeah, but then he wanted a letter of support too, and I said, okay, well, I would like to have their stuff from them to review so that we can bring it to you guys, and they never did. And that's where he for their commitment to them, agreeing to support them in the grant, and that's where we are.
funder?
It is
HUD,
HUD.
See, we should have went after that. Anyway, I hate to see us lose that opportunity for our youth to teach us and guide us in homelessness. But then I don't want the University of Nebraska using us either.
And they lumped us all in. like
And they
all you
lumped us all
Indians.
together. Okay,
Okay, so we are in discussion and Charlie has a comment.
I just wanted to add that.
Hey, Charlie, do you want to come up to the mic and then everybody can hear you on the line?
No, hello, good morning, everybody.
Morning.
No, I just wanted to add or like re-mention that we also do have like the existing Ho-Chunk-Ni Sochachi Youth Council. Those bylaws like were actually passed by this table, and I've been in communication with Darla and Tyresha because all of the youth council members never got the official notification, only like from the past meeting. So that's kind of at a standstill, but I would love to get that picked up. And when I seen this advertised, obviously there's a lot of like synergies. So I really agreed with your point about maybe, I don't know, how we can utilize these resources, because to your point about what the definition of homelessness is, I think almost everybody who under the age of 24 in our community probably qualifies due to the fact that we have to live with our parents. We're on long, waiting lists. All of us are displaced. So I just wanted to kind of bring that back up to the table and maybe see how we could collaborate or work together or pick that back up, or just wanted to add that to the discussion.
Thanks, Charlie. Okay, any further discussion? Objection? Motion carried 6-0. Is council ready for a 5-minute recess?
yeah.
Okay, 5-minute recess, please.
my bad.
Welcome back to the meeting, everybody. We're picking back up with our planning department on item 3B. And we've got the Winnebago Tribe Rural Development Grant Program FY 25. Do you want to talk about that, Brittany?
Yeah, so this is the Winnebago Tribe Rural Business Development Grant, FY25. It's a USDA grant. Funding is essentially going to help with supporting the creation of a tech center for the new Boys and Girls Club that's going to be built. And this is mainly just geared towards not only the tech center, but also getting more business development for the kids. Just it's like kind of something like junior cheer was for like NCAI and all that other stuff. But yeah, so that's kind of what that's geared towards. It's the award amount is $500,000, and it does not require cost sharing.
Okay, I'll make a motion to adopt resolution
14.
25-114, approving the Winnebago Tribe Rural Development Business Grant for our Boys and Girls Club.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Lorelei and a second by Teresa. I need a point of clarification here. So I've been saying 2514, but Teresa let me know it's 25114. So for all the resolutions we passed today, it's one,
Started with 5107.
so it's 107, not 7. So all those will be reflected in the minutes. I'm just
Yeah.
letting you know that I've been misstating it. Okay, so this resolution that we're passing is 25-114. Thank you, Teresa. Any further discussion? Objection? Motion carried 600. Thank you. And that brings us to the Nebraska Crime Commission Burn State Crisis Intervention Program Grant.
Yep. This is the Nebraska Crime Commission Burn State Crisis Intervention Program Grant (NCIP). This is for $286,000. And it is a 2-year grant that has 3 objectives. Within the first 24 months, to increase access to services for assessment, counseling, and treatment for 25 youth per year, and also for families experiencing mental and substance abuse. The other objective is to increase partnerships offering telehealth visits, including smartphone applications for youth and families within the first 12 months. And the final objective is to incorporate best practices, cultural programming provided for youth and families within the program. This will be under YCIC.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to adopt resolution 25-115?
So moved.
Motion by Eugene. Second by Isaac. Discussion.
Helen, I know you probably don't have the answer to this, but I'm just gonna kind of throw it out there anyway. So I guess for this, it would probably be YCIC, but how is this gonna help them? The information that you know, maybe.
Just from what I can understand, it's basically just to increase funding for crisis intervention. It seems like that's what they already kind of do, so maybe just to like help it more. But this one it lays out the 3 objectives. The one that I kind of think is the most important is incorporating the best practices for cultural programming. I think that maybe I don't really know, but I am just gonna go on a hunch and say that incorporating your cultural practices more with YCIC and funding it more isn't gonna hurt anyone. But yeah, sorry.
No, that's good. I just wanted to see kind of what knowledge you had of it. And the reason why I bring this up, guys, is because this morning we had an incident here in our little village, but that would kind of fit right into these guidelines. But it seems like the tribe is continuing to receive multiple layers of funding through different resources to try to help the youth, but I don't see it reaching the youth. And that's the only issue that I'm kind of having is that we're signing up and we're getting all this money, but we're really not affecting the youth because this stuff is still continuing to go on. So the reason why I bring that up is because that, and I know it's not your guys' job, but as you guys kind of advocate, get these opportunities come rolling in your office. One of the things I think is to kind of start questioning them, just so for your own not stand in the way of it, but just question it and learn more about it. So that way, it can help us all understand, how this is going to actually help the youth. Because right now, if we think about it, we got not only this grant, we have that new building behind the school that's going up. That's supposed to be some counseling stuff. We have what's the hospitals? They got an emergency response team. So I'm seeing all of these, but where I'm seeing the disconnect at is that most of these calls come into the Winnebago PD. And then the Winnebago PD does not have any knowledge of where to direct these people or anything. So they're still continuing to operate in the old style of things, where they'll dispatch an officer, and then the officer kind of, a lot of the officers don't really feel comfortable or know the process of what all options of help are out there. And so we really got to help educate the PD on this. What lines to, who to call during what crisis. And that's where the disconnect. So the PD will go through their standard operation where they'll take them, and sometimes they'll take them. Sometimes they'll dispatch an ambulance out, but the ultimate thing is they get them to the hospital and then they just do a 72-hour evaluation, ship them down to Lincoln. And then that isn't working. And so once they get done with their evaluation in Lincoln, they get put right back in that same environment. And I think that's where it's vital that these programs are able to step in and say, hey, we understand that it's kind of like somebody's on fire, you put them out and then you put them back in a fire, so the behavior and the mindset and everything is going to continue to be that way. And then the Winnebago tribe is going to continue to receive funds to try to help that when we're putting them right back in the fire. So if there's a way to try to collaborate through all these efforts through the Winnebago tribe, it's almost like we got to pull all these guys of saying who's all working with the youth, what all is it that your program has to offer, and how do we get a hold of you at all hours of the night. And so a lot of times what goes on is it's during the morning time when the sun starts to come up, that's when these things go on. And there's a bigger reason for that time frame, but we got to get everybody on the same page. So as people are bringing you these opportunities, maybe kind of start making it a little bit, just question it a little bit more, if we go and advocate, because it's you guys that are sitting here that sometimes kind of get the brunt end of the stick, and then the programs that are having you guys sign up for this aren't even, they should be right here in these seats too, backing you guys up if we had any follow-up questions. Then you could direct it over to them and say, so that's all I was trying to put out there was we just need to make sure that we're not just collecting money and acting like a pharmacist here, we want them to continue to be sick so we can collect money off of them. So try to say that in a good way.
Madam Chair. I like what this grant is going to do because they're going to get smartphones for our kids that are in crisis and offer them telehealth counseling wherever they are. And that to me is something we don't have. So that they can get help right away no matter where they are. And with that smartphone. And so I'm in support of this grant. I'm happy to see they're applying for it. Because our youth, they can't always come over to the YCIC. But wherever they are, they can get help. Wherever they are, if they're in a crisis, they can get help through this, what they're going to use, get them smartphones and offer them telehealth counseling. So I'm glad they're going after this. It's needed. Thank you.
One of my things is, as Isaac was saying, that what we need to do is, or what we need to do is do follow-up. You know, they go through a crisis, they get put on a radar by law enforcement or the hospital, and to get them treated, and then, Isaac said, put them out, and then put them back into the fire. That's where that follow-up needs to come in, and to start following up. So follow up and respond as soon as we find out they're in crisis. And so that's kind of what I would like to see, is as soon as they pop up on a radar, have a plan for them. And the most important thing would be the follow-up, because there's not too much follow-up. That, yeah, we do, the cops see them and they put them on a hill, and then they say they're okay, and then they let them go. But we need to start having follow-ups done on them, maybe even welfare checks, depending on how far they got on their, whatever it is that put them on a radar. And so if that's a law enforcement officer, a call from the hospital, or even the program itself of whatever this grant's gonna start covering, to do that follow-up. I can't emphasize that enough, because I go home and then they're like, I'm right back in the shit. Here I am again, right where I started. And so we just need someone there to kind of hold their hand and let them know that they're okay, they're gonna be okay, there's help available, you know, with that smartphone, to start that it'll kind of measure the intensity of what put them on the radar of the follow-up that they will be receiving, whether it's every other day, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, however the in-depth they have to go to whatever brought them to be on the radar. So just follow up. That's my biggest thing. And maybe work with the people up on the hill right here, starting now, with the ones that have gone through there up until this point, or up until we get this, and start right there to say, hey, who have you guys seen in the last 90 days? We'll start follow up with them. And that'll kind of be the segue into the ones that are coming yet, and which I hope isn't any at all. But that's not my decision, and they still keep popping up, just like this morning. And so that'd be a good place to start, is following up. I just can't emphasize that enough. Just follow up. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Council, for expressing your support and guidance. Any further discussion on adoption of Resolution 25-115? Objection? Motion carried 600. That brings us to the last resolution in the pack. That's the FY24 Historic Preservation Fund.
I think this one is for, I can't think of her name, Sunshine Bear, at the museum. We are requesting $75,000 for the Historic Preservation Fund Tribal Heritage Grant.
So is it FY25 and it just says 24, or? what?
It's, the grant actually says 24.
Okay.
But for us, it's 25.
Is there a motion to adopt Resolution 25-116? We got a motion by Isaac. Do we have a second? Second by Eric. Discussion? Objection? Motion carried 600. Motion carried. Thank you, Council. That brings us into our next item, which under Tribal Council items, we have a travel approval for the University of North Dakota. Thank you to our planning department.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay warm. It's getting cold.
Oh, I know.
We've got the University of North Dakota Tribal Judicial Institute Responding to Violence in Intertribal Communities Conference and Roundtable. And we have, do we have a motion to approve travel for that meeting?
Move it.
We have a motion by Eric. Do we have a second? Second by Teresa. Discussion. Objection. Motion carried 500, showing Eugene away from the table.
Is this that Vawa? I just heard of, yeah. Good one.
The next item we have is the village vote, and I'd like to invite our communications director, Gary Coons, for discussion. And as you know, the council has done a lot of work towards reacquiring the water assets in Winnebago. And as you know, it's been very difficult to get to this point. We've expended a lot of legal resource on forcing the village to have this election, and we've come to that point. Lorelai, did you want to make any comments on kind of introducing that?
Just so the membership knows, we all know that the village has struggled over these past years in the management and operation of water and sewer in Winnebago. And so the tribe felt it was best that we take that back over because we are the Winnebago tribe. And we feel that we can better manage the water and sewer operation the way it needs to be. And also the billing the way it needs to be or can be. So our people are being served, our Winnebago people. And so we did a petition. Thank you to Vice Chairman Smith, because he's a resident in the village. He initiated the petition so the voters of the village of Winnebago can vote to return the water and sewer assets and the operation to the Winnebago tribe. And the village resisted that petition, and they filed a suit against our vice chairman for initiating the petition. And of course, the tribe stuck by our vice chairman because this was a tribal council decision. So our lawyers, Big Fire Law, fought it in court and they won. So the village is forced to hold that election. So our tribal members that live in the village of Winnebago can vote to approve returning the water and sewer operations and the assets back to the Winnebago tribe. When that happens, then facilities will be ready to take that over, the operation and the billing. And we have some already some funds that were approved to do some improvements from the Indian Health Service to improve the water quality of the water that's coming out of our faucets. And also the services, the billing, improve the billing. So the county, the ballots are being mailed out tomorrow, February 18th. And they're going to go to the registered voters of the village of Winnebago. And we're asking each of our tribal members in the village to complete the ballot, vote yes to return the operation back to the tribe, and mail it back out again. So we wanted our communications director to weigh in here on ways he can help get out the vote. Thank you.
Thanks, Lorelai, for introducing that topic. Garen, I want to invite you to the discussion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We did get a notice from the Thurston County Clerk. We put that into the Winnebago Indian News, this issue, so that will be out. And then we did get some advice from Big Fire Law, kind of some of the parameters that we can and cannot do when it comes to this special election. So we'll be taking that advice, and then we'll be putting it on the big screen. We'll also put it on social media, and then we'll be emailing those that are able to get our emails. So, and then we also have an opportunity for the radio station. We could do a kind of a special, how do you say it, like a special show where we can talk about it, educate those that want to make a decision, and kind of just go from there. So that's what we have. I did let the team know, communications team know that we have this to kind of try to get the word out as much as possible and try to get a good turnout, getting the voters to submit their vote.
Thanks, Garen. Is tomorrow Winnebago Talks?
Yes, tomorrow's Winnebago Talks at 11 o'clock.
Is that segment already booked up?
No, it's not.
Would anybody?
Yes.
Oh, go ahead, Garen.
If anybody would like to come over, I'm just going to ask and stuff, you're more than welcome to, and we can get that ready.
Well, thank you, council, for getting us to this point. Also, our general counsel, and all the others in our physical resources team that have kept us moving along. I guess that's the best way I can say. We've kind of 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but we've been vigilant on trying to get these water assets back and an updated water system for your enjoyment and safety. I'd be willing to support the vice chair. Vice chair, do you want to go on the radio tomorrow? Are you available?
Depends on how much Jude's is in the legal fees, legal account right now.
So we'll organize ourselves, but I think it'd be a good idea if we'd be a part of that discussion and use every tool we have. Would that be okay with the council?
So one of the things that I also want to pass on to some of the membership is there's I believe over $7 million that's sitting on a shelf that's just waiting through what Lorelei commented to was through IHS that would help fund this next adventures of making it better quality for the water treatment plant. So it's not like we don't have the funds for it. They're sitting there, and this process that we're going through at the village is kind of hindering that in order for us to improve the system. And that's one of the things that right now is that we can do better with this water as a whole tribe. We've the way that it's set up now, the tribal members that do take care of the water system, they're not getting any kind of benefits or anything other than just being there and collecting a paycheck. And so that's kind of sad on behalf of those tribal members that have maintained the water system this long. And that's one of the things that we wanted to try to do is be able to help those tribal members that know about the water system and then be able to work with them and also be able to work with the new system. So the tribe did hire some people to come in and evaluate the water treatment plant. And they got back to us and let us know that there's some changes that could be made. Right now, there's, I believe, only about three things that are being filtered out of that water treatment plant, and it's at the bare minimum state standards. That the minimum that they're saying that it is safe. The water is safe to drink, but there's more things that we could be filtering out of that. So if we're able to do that, what that does is that also helps out with homeowners and their appliances that they utilize every day, such as showers, such as washers, hot water heaters, water softeners, all those kind of things. If we're able to filter out more things out of the system, those appliances in your own home will also last a little bit longer. And right now, doing research on chlorine itself and the effects of chlorine and cancer. And so far, some of the stuff that's come up was that you can have a water system where you pump in so much chlorine that when you consume that, it basically wipes out all your vitamins and everything in your body. So then your body becomes vulnerable for different sicknesses and different diseases and stuff. And so one of the things that I wanted to also try to encourage the table at taking a look at is the data of how many people in the past 20 years have we had that had cancer, how many people have these different types of sicknesses, and then to actually compile all that information. And then when we are able to improve the water system, then I wanted to see if the data will show from moving forward of the change in the healthy of our tribal members. And so there's some research there that needs to be done and collected, but there's a lot of stuff and need all around the world now that people are starting to become more they're starting to understand how vital it is for water, clean water. And our elders told us that before, a long time ago, there's a day that's going to come where you're going to have to pay for water. And we're at that day now. We all have water bills. And they also said, you're going to understand what it is to be pitiful. All these big trees are going to start dying. And then you're really going to know what it is to have a hard time. And so on top of not only our own tribal issues, but then at the U.S. government level, those kind of issues that we face today and for the next 4 years, we really need to be able to get our tribal members to understand why it is so important to kind of grow your own food, to be able to take care of all these things, to have this a set of supplies on hand for if anything does go on, that we're able to maintain that. So according to the Constitution, that the tribal council is one of the ones that are supposed to be looking out for all of that, and also being able to protect what we have here. So we were able to try to increase our buffalo herd by a little bit, and that was good. And then trying to look at this tribal gardening and tribal farms, be able to get those things ramped up now, because the prices of everything are going to go up along with the other things that we consume. So as a tribe, we kind of got a little rough road ahead of us, and I wanted to try to get the tribal members to understand that, be able to prepare for that. But also, this isn't something that we've never gone through before. We've been through worse situations before, and we're still here today. So just wanted to say that.
So thank you everyone for expressing yourself. Tomorrow we'll kind of hit the pavement with all this outreach, so please share it with your relatives that live in the village, that the goal of the tribal council is to update the water system, and we can't do that until it's back in our possession. Stay tuned for more information. Garen, thank you for getting on and guiding us through this portion of the goal. That brings us to a discussion. As you know, council, there's been much movement and distress in Indian country regarding the executive orders that impact our tribal communities. Most recently, I want to thank the Tribal Council for sending a delegation to the National Congress for American Indians. Councilwoman Rona Steeler, or excuse me, Treasurer Rona Steeler, Councilman Eugene Decor, myself, and our General Council team participated in the National Congress of American Indians. There were also other tribal members out there, like Charlie Earth, who's a member of the youth council out there. And it was a very fluid conference, and NCAI is the pillar of advocacy in Indian country, but there were many things happening outside of their control. The agenda had disruptions in it. People pulled out from attending, and so the administration and the federal partners having a willingness to be visible and responsive to some of the tribal citizens' concerns was, I don't want to say completely absent, because we had the Secretary of Interior come on, I think, the third day, right?
Yeah.
But overall, there was a spirit of encouragement. There was a spirit of pride and treaty resilience that was expressed by all the leadership. And even though there was so much uncertainty, much like the Winnebago tribe, the other tribes were standing in solidarity to assert our trust and treaty responsibility to our federal partners. But with that said, as you know, there's many things that happened since last week on terminations. We heard from even our local BIA agency. The Winnebago tribe, at the encouragement of our table, has outreach to our BIA Winnebago agency under Nyla Solomon's leadership. We have a email out to the Special Agent in Charge Burge, Assistant Special Agent in Charge Shoemaker on impacts to our law enforcement operation. We have an email out to David Edwards, our CEO of the Winnebago Comprehensive Healthcare System, 12 Clans Unity Hospital, and want to have a concern if our self-governance hospital and any of our IPA employees are in jeopardy. So the emails have gone out on how we analyze the direct impacts of our community. And we're seeing many things on social media. We're hearing from friends and relatives working in all four directions. Many of our support at Haskell Indian Nations University, we learned that some of them have been terminated. So we have students at Haskell, and we have students and people working in many of these federal agencies. And these agencies have a direct impact on the services we provide to our tribal members. So it's important, and I want to assure our tribal members that our tribal council has been diligent and responsive to any of this upset. And even our tribal members are reaching out to the tribal council, sharing what intel they have, sharing documents that they'd like to see this table pass. So with that, I want to thank Willie Bass for reaching out to the council and sharing some resolutions and form letters that are being circulated in Indian country. And there's a desire and imperative action that this council needs to take to support those letters, send our own letters, work with our general counsel to discuss what all these actions mean for the Winnebago people. So whether we send the form letter that we've gotten in the email, or if our general counsel drafts something more unique to the losses that we've experienced, I want to just open up the discussion and give Eugene and Rona an opportunity to share anything that they picked up or learned or that they'd like the people to know.
Attending the NCAI conference, it was a lot of the tribal leaders, showing their concerns, the same concerns that we have, but also sharing information and being positive about, reinforcing that we hold a distinct political status and that we are not part of any of the DEI stuff. The DEI is the diversion exclusion. It has caused a lot of havoc for everybody, but for us, we're positive that we will maintain our status as a government, as a sovereign entity. So just being part of NCI since 22, I think I started attending the mid-year just to get back into government, tribal to tribal, communication and networking. And it's been pretty positive that I can see in sharing knowledge across, Indian country, and sharing ideas, not just, and ideas on how to preserve and culturally preserve our language, our history, and just being there for each other. It's a very good collaboration. So I was happy to attend and be able to support also Tori when we visited on Capitol Hill and seeing our 4 representatives and letting them know where we stand and asking for their support with administration, the U.S. administration at this point. So just want to thank the delegation and the tribal council for supporting our travel to this event, and look forward to more inclusion and everybody that can attend should attend, and just appreciation of our village, our little village here, and supporting what we do is much appreciated. Thank you.
So with that, again, Rona, thank you, and Tori did a great job out there. The conference itself, I guess I'll speak a little bit more about the Secretary of Interior when he got up and talked. It sounded like he wanted to support tribes. I mean, he even threw a good one out there saying he wanted to try to help double the budget for, he called it IHS funding. That was brought up in that conversation. But the only thing that I guess I would speak on there is that, he sounded like a great guy. It sounded like he was going to do things for Indian country. But then the piece that came out of it that we seen was him unleashing America's energy. And he talked about the mineral rights and how strong this nation has. And he's talking about federal lands being tapped. And so we got a little worried about that. So I would just continue guys to encourage you to keep reading, finding out, make sure you're checking your sources of where all those are coming from. But that's a big piece of it that I heard him speak about. The other one would just be that our advocate out there, Josh Petrie, he is going to continue to remind our supporters out there about tribal sovereignty and the fact that tribes stand on our own, like Rona said, stand on our own political status. We are not to be included in any of these DEI exclusions. Those do not apply to tribes, and that's pretty much the theme of NCAI as it was moving forward as well. And then I know that we didn't sign the letter to help support NCAA on a few things, but at the same time, the tribe itself has its own 2 feet that are very strong that it stands on. And people know the Winnebago people out there. And I want to again say thank you to Tori for speaking on our behalf when we speak to our delegations out there and our supporters from out there. And so it was it was needed, I would say. It was, something that it's gonna help us move forward, and I think we're just gonna continue to move forward with it. I know that the chair is gonna be going back in a couple weeks actually to speak on some funding, and so I know she'll be doing some more advocating while she's out there. So I want to say thank you all.
Thanks, Eugene. So with that, council, would you like to direct general counsel to draft a specific resolution, or would you like to send the one that we received in our email? How would you like to proceed?
Madam Chair, we know how to speak for our own selves. So we want to have the general counsel draft a resolution where we're speaking for ourselves, standing under our Winnebago Treaty of 1865 with our distinct political status as a tribe. And we should be exempt from the workforce the workforce reductions that they're doing against BIA, and they did do against IHS, but I understand the Secretary of Health and Human Services rescinded that. But also how it's going to impact education, tribal education, public safety in our communities, and also healthcare. So we want to speak for ourselves with our own resolution. We'll have our general counsel draft that, and then we can approve it on Wednesday at the general council meeting.
Second.
So you want to motion that? Okay, we got a motion by Lorelei, and we have a second by Eric. Discussion, back at Eric.
The 1865 treaty, as we're talking, that we should be shielding everybody that's working for us in the hospital, at the BIA, and that should be covered in that. And that's just the Senate. I believe that comes from the Senate to protect everybody that works for us. And that should be covered under our treaty as it's been said. And so I agree with that, and that's why I seconded that. And that's why I'd like to move forward with that letter stating that everyone that works for us should be covered under our treaty as well, 1865 treaty. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Any further discussion? Objection? Motion carried 600. Thank you, council. That brings us to our next discussion, which is the Nebraska Intertribal Coalition meeting, and send it to you, Eric.
Okay. As we've been, as it's been discussed already, that we need to get together with the NITC, and I just kind of feel like I'm repeating myself, but for the enrolled membership that wasn't aware of that we did a lunch with our senators last month, and some of them were interested in hearing what that we had to say at NITC, because then we'd have some state level support on whatever we're going through. And not only would the NITC be able to send a letter as we've done before with the 4 signatures, that we can also have our state representatives aid us in that. And once we do that, because we're seeing the effects now that it came onto our reservation, into our BIA with one individual, that it's here already. And so we need to start getting our tribes together so we can come up with a plan for our state and move together as one unit, and bringing in our state representatives. And we do need to get a hold of our state representative to also start communicating in Lincoln. And so that's another thing. And I was also talking about, once we get that done, we can start working with the Great Plains tribal leaders and the Great Plains Chairman's Association to start spreading what we're doing into a bigger footprint in Indian country. And as we've been requested, Ho Chunk from Wisconsin wants us to help them as well. And that'll increase that footprint. And somewhere along the lines, we can start working as one big native unit against whatever's going to come. The DIE, the DEI, or the federal
jobs that are disappearing, they're trying to take. And that this is all within 30 days of this new administration. And so it's only going to get more crazier as time goes on, if this is the beginning of this administration. And because of our treaty, we should be separated from that. And not just our treaty, but all the other tribal entities, the tribes treaties, that we can do something together to enforce and support one another. And so I believe we're hosting our next NITC, Nebraska Indian Tribal Coalition meeting. And we need to start getting on that sooner than later because it's already here. And so I'm just looking for a date so we can start putting it together.
Thanks, Eric, for that encouragement. I don't know the date off the top of my head right now. I know we had to reschedule it because we overlooked NCAI. So the former date was the 9th of February. I will get back with you. Did anybody else know the date? Have we set that date? Okay, I'll follow up on that.
One more thing is, once we get this date figured out, that we need to emphasize to be for NITC or for other tribes in Nebraska to be there in person. Communication always flows easier in person, and this is a pretty serious topic that we're going to be talking about and where we're going to go in the future. So I'd emphasize for them, for us all to be there in person. Thank you.
I'll get on that. Okay, so that brings us to, there's one item that I saw after the meeting started. I would ask the council for a motion to, how do you say that? Suspend the rules so I can get an approval from the council.
Move
Have
it.
a motion to suspend by Eric. Do you have a second? Second by Teresa. Discussion? Objection? Motion carried 600. Okay, I saw this letter come in the mail and I'm very thankful that Amy, our director of education, followed up on this. And so what it is, it's a request from the Buffett Early Childhood Institute at the University of Nebraska would like to host their early childhood strategic planning meeting at Educare, and they'd like the tribe to host that in early June. They expect 64 participants representing educators, parents, health professionals, and other tribal communities from across the country to develop strategies that enhance early experiences of Native American children. We believe that it's critical that this meeting be held in a place that represents Native communities and fosters a spirit of partnership. This institute will cover all expenses regarding this event, and they're looking for approval from the tribal council to proceed. Amy's on the planning committee and is asking the council to please consider this.
Is there a question? Is there any request for the tribe to sponsor anything or donate anything?
No, they're gonna sponsor everything. They just want us to host it, but they will provide all the funds to put the
Motion
meeting
to
on.
approve.
We got a motion by Eric, we got a second by Isaac. Discussion? Objection? Motion carried 600. Thank you, council. So that brings us, that's the end of our regular items, and we go into executive session at this point. Do we have a motion to go into executive session? We have a motion by Teresa. Do we have a second? Second by Eugene. Discussion? Objection? Motion carried 600. We'll go into executive session